Republicans passed a $4 trillion budget proposal overnight that paves the way for tax cuts.
We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to replace a failing tax code that holds Americans back with one that actually works for them. To middle-class families across America, we have a very simple message. We want to take more money out of Washington's pockets and put more in yours.
Not so fast, says DNC Chair Tom Perez. He doesn't agree with Senate Majority Leader. This is what he says. If Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, and Paul Ryan get their way, many middle-class Americans will see their taxes go up as our national debt and deficit skyrocket. He continues, the American people know a rotten deal when they see one, and it's time to take out the trash. Let's talk about it. President and CEO of the American Council for Capital Formation, Mark Bloomfield, and former Chief of Staff to Senator Mike Lee, Boyd Matheson. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Boyd, what's next here? I'm assuming the House has to reconcile the Senate-passed budget plan?
Yeah, I think it's really important to recognize that this is, that there's no reason to spike the ball after last night's vote. It's non-binding. It doesn't become law. There were a lot of show votes in there. It does clear the way to actually have the tax discussion. That's the important thing. And I do think it's going to be a critical test of Mitch McConnell's leadership. This may be the last test he gets, because you've already got people like Senator Corker, who said he's not going to vote for it if it adds to the deficit. So there's a heavy lift and a long haul ahead of us in terms of really getting the tax reform that is going to help middle-class and hard-working Americans across the country. And that's going to be an interesting balance point. I think President Trump's going to watch very, very closely, and Mitch McConnell better take cover if things go down in flames.
Yeah, well, Mitch did get praise at 1 o'clock in the morning from the president on Twitter. Mark, when will we see this bill? What's in it, the details? When can we expect to see the tax bill?
Well, let me say something very important. I've been at this for 40 decades, and I do know that once the genie of tax reform is out of that crystal ball, it's sort of hard to put it in. This is a very, very important first step, because it really gets the tax reform bill moving, and that's the critical part. The most important thing, it's not just the tax bill, it's an overall economic growth initiative. One of the things I'm very worried about, we'll get good tax reform. I think there's a 50% chance, but I'm worried about other issues in terms of growth, like withdrawing from NAFTA. But this is a very, very important step. I think the markets reacted accordingly,
yeah,
and we're on our way. We are on our way, Lauren.
Right, but Boyd, they say they want, you know, they want to see the details. Orrin Hatch, he's the chair of the Finance Committee. He wants to release this tax plan by November because they want it done by Christmas. That's the goal. So the timeline is very crucial here.
Well, we're going to get a bill out of the House. The details probably in a week or so. We're going to get the details out of the Senate. It's going to go to the House, to the Senate, only with Republican votes. And then, as always happens, the Senate works its will, and they'll work off the House bill. We know the basic outlines of it.
Yeah. Boyd, what are Senate Republicans concerned about here?
Obviously, the national debt is going to be the big component to it. It adds about $1.5 trillion additional over the 10-year window. So that's going to be a challenge for a lot of Republicans. I agree with Mark that the focus has got to be on getting the economic engine really going, because that's what's going to help hardworking Americans the most. So I think we have to be careful. A lot of this is still behind closed doors. We don't know all the details yet. And so that's going to be the real test. Can we get down to the specifics, and then can we get everybody on board to get something done for the American people?
But guys, sometimes Republicans get in their own way. We are concerned about the health of two senators, Cochran and McCain, but also what's going on in Alabama. Right? You have the special election in December to succeed Luther Strange, and a Moore victory, a Roy Moore victory. He's the Republican. He's so conservative. So if he wins, would he be on board? Either one of you can answer that.
Yeah, he would be on board if it's pro-growth, and I think the Republicans will be on board. They may have to make some tinkering. For example, in the House, they forgot to reduce capital gains taxes. That's what Republicans love, and history shows that that's a big revenue gainer. And let's not rule out some bipartisanship here. When we get to the Senate, you know, you can work out a deal. There are things that can be moved around. That's why it's a broad outline. It's a broad outline because Congress needs to work its will.
Yeah, I have 20 seconds here. Boyd, I'll let you wrap it up. Senator Roy Blunt, he says a broader rewrite of the tax bill could wait till after the midterms, so it could wait to 2019. He has a suggestion: get the tax cut in now, do the rest in 2019. Your thoughts?
It's an interesting angle to take. I think you could get, as Mark was suggesting, some bipartisanship. You could get a Joe Manchin or a Heidi Heitkamp on board in some of those states that went for President Trump last cycle. So it's an interesting thing to look at. I don't think that's where we're going to end up in the end. I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be heavy lifting, but Mark Boyd, as both of you highlighted, if you cut taxes, you definitely spur the economy. The market loving it this morning. Great week for people's 401ks. Have a great weekend, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you. You know, we don't get up this early for anybody, Lauren.
Oh, we appreciate it. Coffee on me.
Yeah, we always appreciate our guests getting up so early for us. It's the best. All right. Well.